So, Eric Walker, I would like you to introduce yourself, please.
I'm Eric Walker.
You can look at me.
I'm Eric Walker. I'm a Lubbock native, born and raised here. I'm a 2011 graduate of Texas Tech with bachelor's degrees in history and political science.
Okay,
Um,
nice. So, you have a bachelor's degree in history and political science. How would you say you use your college education as being a manager? Like, your role as a manager?
you learn a lot of social skills, especially with being at Tech, and a lot of the stuff that you learn in class and a lot of your interactions with people really helps you because you get used to a wide variety of people, especially a place like Tech that's got a very diverse student population. And that really helps you because you've interacted with people from a lot of different countries and places, and it really helps you. Plus, having a background in both my degrees and the information that I know from that, I can carry on a lot of conversations with people because I can talk about a lot of different events with them.
Good people skills.
Yes,
Cool.
absolutely.
All right. So, where do you currently work at? Tell me about your job.
I work for Walgreens. I've been there 6.5 years. I started out as a cashier, and then I was a photo tech, and then I was a former position that doesn't exist now called head photo, where I ran the photo lab for 2 years, and then I was a Sims coordinator, which is in charge of the store inventory and the making sure everything is has their prices, everything is stocked, and then now I'm a shift lead where I'm in charge of the shift when I'm there.
Okay, so you're a shift lead. So if you would explain to me the levels of managers, the low level, mid level, and high level managers that you have, just in the store.
You have the shift leads, which there's 3 of us at our particular location. It varies by store, whether you have 2, 3, or 4, depending on what tier
So
level
shift
within the
lead
company.
shift lead would be low level.
Yes.
And then
And
mid
then
level.
the mid-level is your assistant store manager. Again, you can have 1 or 2 of those per store, depending on how busy you are and what level you are within the company. And then you have your store manager, who's in charge of the store. And then you have the other higher level manager in the store. Is you have the pharmacy manager, who's on the same level as the store manager, but doesn't have any authority on the sales floor, only in the pharmacy. But they're in charge of the pharmacy.
Okay. So cool. All right. And now I'm going to ask you some questions about your management skills and your skills as a manager. What skills would you say you use the most and are most beneficial to you in being a manager, and how do you implement those skills in your everyday job? So there's technical skills, human skills, problem solving skills. How would you go about those?
I would say you use a little of all 3 of those. You use a lot of people skills. You have to be dealing with both your employees and your customers. And, a lot of our customers can be great, but then you have customers that can be a challenge, that nothing's ever good enough for them. And everything. You also have to be able to motivate your employees and get them to, do what needs to be done, but you want to make them feel like it's their choice and, let them be able to do the job. You don't want to micromanage them. You don't want to spend all your time looking over their shoulder. You've got a great bunch of people. You've got to let them do the job. Technical skills you got to have too, because you've got a lot of different pieces of equipment that we use. You have to be able to use the register. You've got, the different office programs we use for managing the money in the store stuff, and then you have the photo lab where you have to know how to do all the products and keeping all of that equipment running. So you kind of have a really good mix at Walgreens. You have a lot of different things
to do. It's a lot to do as a manager, right? You have to pretty much be in charge of everything and everyone.
Everything from receiving all your products at the door to, if something doesn't ring up at a right price, you got to go figure out why it's not ringing up and what the price should be on it. So you do a little of everything every day.
Okay, cool. So Eric, if you could give me an example of your problem-solving skills as a manager.
One of the biggest things that you have in regards to that is when you're dealing with your customers, and especially when you don't have the product, or the product is not ringing up at the price that either your ad says it is, or the customer thinks it should be. Whether that product is on the wrong spot on the shelf, has been mistagged, or you don't have it, you have to make that customer happy, and you have to try to find that product in another store. Or if it's not ringing up, you've got to figure out if there's a coupon that needs to be applied, or go and fix the price for them. But you've got to make your customer happy, and that's a big focus, because the customers are what gives us our job. That's what makes the store the store. If you don't have customers, you don't have a job.
So it's the saying, like, the customer's always right kind of thing.
Yes, and they believe that even when they're not. That's a big thing, is even when clearly it's a box of toothpaste that's sitting on the shaving cream shelf, and it's clearly in the wrong spot, but there's a tag there for 99 cents. They want it for 99 cents, and you're trying to explain to them, well, this item was just set down. This goes over here. It's actually a $6 item. I can't give it to you for that.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to be nice, but be firm.
Okay, cool. So, next, I'd like to talk about some of the things we discussed in my media and management class that I'm taking. So, when we talk about managers in the workforce, we have these four things called plan, organize, coordinate, and create. So, what would you say what you think those mean to plan, to organize, to coordinate, and to create in regards to your job?
As far as planning goes, you have to kind of plan out your shift because you've got to know, okay, this is the day we hang ad tag. We need to get this hung today, or we've got a truck coming. We need to have everybody in place so that we can get the truck unloaded and get everything, onto the shelf and ready so customers can buy it. And then creating.
Organizing play a part.
You have to be organized. You have to have your store organized for your customer, for one, because they want the product. It needs to be in the right spot for them so they can find it, so you can find it. Like your stock room, you've got to have it organized so that way if you're out on the floor, you can find it back there. But you also have to organize your time and your employees. You want to be able to be efficient and get things done in a timely fashion. And it's very easy to get off track or let time slip away, especially when you're very busy in a retail environment. And you get a rush, and before you know it, an hour has passed and you're an hour behind if you don't keep a good thing. But organizing it's a big part because you want to stay organized.
Yeah. The last one would be creating in the workforce. What would you consider that you create or you do as a manager?
One is creating displays. I mean, you have to make your product appealing to customers, and and everything. So especially, you've got a bunch of something, you want to get it in a spot where they can see it, where there's a price on it, and where it appeals to them. Especially with some of our small stuff. If you got it on a small display up front, and you've got it displayed nicely, and you've created something that appeals to the customer, and they're walking by like, oh hey, I want to buy this. It's $2 and everything.
Okay, nice. So, how would you say that motivation plays a role in your management skills, as in motivating yourself and motivating your employees?
That is very important, because if the employees aren't motivated, aren't engaged, they don't want to do the work. And you've got to have a good camaraderie, a good rapport with your employees, and then you've got to make them want to do the work. If they're there and they're not feeling it, they're not wanting to do what needs to be done, you're not going to get it done. But if they feel like they're making a difference, they're contributing, they're a part of the team, that they matter, that's going to get everything done, and it's going to be a much more smooth workflow and a much more pleasant, much more pleasant work environment. That applies to yourself as well, because you've got to be motivated. If I go in and I'm not feeling well and I'm not wanting to do anything, if I'm not motivated, my team won't be motivated if they see me just sitting in our office or something all day. So you've got to stay enthused. You got to keep going.
Be a leader, pretty much.
Be a leader. Yeah. They don't want to see someone that's always in a bad mood.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, let's see. You told me before you're a little bit involved with the hiring process, or you've learned about how to hire people, correct?
Yes.
So how would you say, what you look for as a manager when you are hiring your employees? What would you say you look for in that interview process?
One thing is someone who's engaged, someone who is excited, who's, is going to want to be at work and want to, be a team member, and is not going to be afraid to do what needs to be done, to be a part of the team. I mean, if you've got someone that's just, constantly calling in or doesn't want to be there, they're not going to help. And you've got to be real engaged. You've got to look for, someone that's going to be able to work when you need a good availability, and we try hard to work around school schedules and all, but if someone's saying, well, I can only work this day and this day from this time to this time, that can be hard, and that's something you've got to know. Can you work when we need you and everything?
So make sure they're fulfilling all of, the needs in being an employee.
Definitely.
Cool. All right, Eric, would you consider yourself a boss or a leader, and could you elaborate a little bit on that?
I consider myself a leader. I don't always come off that way. I think that's a very important distinction. A boss is someone that is just going to sit there and tell everyone what to do. They want it their way. They want to micromanage. They don't want to let everyone have a voice. And I think a really important thing is you've got to be a leader, because if you can say, hey, this is what needs to be done, and if your employees are like, oh, I can do this and get it done, and they're engaged and they're excited to do it, And especially when they feel like it's their idea and it's something that they came up with, they're going to be much more likely to want to do it. Whereas if you just give them a list and say, I want all this done, they're not going to be engaged. They're not going to want to do it. They're going to want to, like, why am I having to do all this? But if they come up with it and they're like, oh, this needs to be done and this, I can make this look good, that makes them excited and it makes it much more smooth.
It makes it for a better work.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. So last questions. I got 2 questions for you that are last ones. What would you say would be the worst thing about your job, or the aspect of your job as a manager that you don't like as much as everything else?
That's kind of a hard one because I love our customers, but there are times when you get customers that just, they try you because they are never happy. Nothing you do is good enough for them. And you have times where you just spend 20 minutes getting yelled at by somebody and there's nothing you can do. You don't have the product. You don't have it for the price they want. They saw an ad and it was an old ad, or their coupon's expired, and that really, when you can't make the customer happy, it's
not good for both of you.
It's
right?
not good either way.
Yeah. So the last question I have for you today is, what would you consider to be the best thing about your job, or what you love about being a manager the most?
I love the interaction with the people. I like the interaction with my coworkers. A great bunch of people that we have, and getting to joke around with them and having a great environment. And I love our customers. I mean, you get to meet so many different people doing this, and you get to, when you have something and a kid comes in and looking for a certain item to spend their 50-cent allowance on, and you have it and they can get it and they're happy, and that's an awesome thing.
Yeah. So your worst thing and your best thing are kind of the same thing,
yes,
but in a different sense.
Yes.
Cool.
Because you've got the customers that you love, that are awesome, that you have a great time. Like, we have one particular customer, she's in all the time. She loves us. She's always giving us a hug, asking us how we are. And then you have customers that every time they come in, they're yelling at you. They're never happy with anything. And it's kind of a best of both worlds thing. You have something you like, something you don't like, and you just have to kind of balance it. And sometimes you just have to go with it, but it makes it fun. I mean, the different people. I mean, you get to meet so many people doing this, and then you see someone out on the street, and they're like, "Oh, hey, I know you from this place," and "Hey, how are you?"
Yeah. I get that a lot. All right. Well, Eric, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Do a little handshake for the camera.